Hi, and welcome to the first in our series of PowerPoints designed to assist you through the Journey to Recovery workbook. In this series, what we're going to do is help you walk through the book and apply the activities as they're meant to be applied throughout the book. So, we're going to start with Chapter 1, Understanding Addiction. Our culture has come to value things like material possessions, keeping up appearances, power and control, immediate gratification, quick fixes, and lust. I mean, look at what's on TV, look at what's advertised, look at what's in the media. So these are things, when you really think about what is important to you, and when the first few things you think about are probably, your kids, your health, all that stuff. But then when you start thinking about why is it that I go to work? What is it that I want? Then we start looking at material possessions, which lead us to get frustrated sometimes because there's always going to be somebody who has more, who has something that we want, which leads us to envy and pride, greed, anger, sloth, gluttony. If you remember the 7 deadly sins, that's kind of what I'm getting at. So these things can trip us up in our recovery. They divert our focus from what is really important in our lives. The emphasis is on like me for what I can do, not for who I am. It teaches us that unless we're the best, the brightest, the richest, and the most powerful, we're not worthy of love. When you think about the messages you see on TV, when you think about the messages you got in school, when you think about the messages you get at work, you're valued for what you do, not for who you are a lot of times. So it's important for you to be able to value yourself and for you to surround yourself with people who value you for who you are. If you don't, then you end up feeling unlovable. When we feel unlovable, that's not a pleasant feeling. It hurts. So addictions can help us escape feeling this unlovable, overwhelmed, depressed, angry state. This is why it matters. We want to figure out what it is that makes us feel less lovable and figure out how to fix that. So it's all about priorities. In the activity that we're getting ready to talk about, you're going to look at how some of society's values are negatively impacting you. What is really important to you? Do you need to keep up with the Joneses? How is this present in your addiction or in your current situation? What is it about wanting to have the fastest car, the biggest house, or whatever it is that you want that is causing you stress and distress, and is it worth it? Sometimes you may say yes. A lot of times I think you're going to find that you say, it's really not worth the effort. And we're going to talk about why wanting these things and these possessions and this power outside of ourselves can trip us up in recovery. Because ultimately all we can control is us. We can't control other people. So, placing a high value on material possessions. How is this present in your addiction or in your current situation? Think about your house, your car, your clothes, your jewelry, whatever it is. If you didn't have those, how would you feel? Would you feel less lovable? If so, then you're putting love and you're putting value on something that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with material possessions and money. So we want to talk about why this might be a problem in recovery. Some of the things that you might want to talk about or think about are the fact that if you're always focused on getting things, getting material possessions, then you're never going to be focused on the now. You're not going to be focused on what you have. In recovery, we call it an attitude of gratitude. Looking at what it is that makes your life good right now. Appreciating the sunrises, appreciating a smile from your kids, whatever it is. What is it that makes you happy besides material possessions? Needing power and control. Now, if you're struggling with an addiction, and just part of American culture, but definitely if you're struggling with an addiction, you're probably a control freak. And I say that in the kindest way possible. Part of addiction is needing to control things so we can protect our addiction. We want to look at how this need for power and control is present in our current situation. Do you always have to be right? What if you're not? If people don't behave the way you want them to, if they don't act the way you want them to, do you take it personally? Does it hurt your feelings? Does it make you angry? We can't control other people. We can't control the weather. We can't control other drivers. So there's a lot of things that we try to control that just suck our energy, which makes us feel depressed, lethargic, hopeless, helpless, blah, 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 blah. So we need to look at what is it that we have power over, what is it we have control over, and what is important for us to have power and control over. And I hope you say yourself. That's kind of where we're going with this, because it's all about your priorities. What do you need to have control over? There are a lot of things I'd love to control, but I can't. So what is it that I need to control in order to be happy? How much power do I need in order to be happy? I've worked as a high-level manager, I've worked as a line staff, I've run my own business, and I've also been a stay-at-home mom. All different levels, different types of power and control. Figuring out what it is that makes you happy, not what society expects, not what somebody else expects of you, but what is it that's going to make you happy? And that's what you need to focus on. Quick fixes, looking for the easy way. Well, we all do. I mean, I'm the first to admit I will stand in front of the microwave and get impatient because it's taking too long to heat up my coffee water. And you're laughing because any of you who have seen my other videos or who know me know that that is such a true statement. There is no such thing as too much coffee, and you can't get it fast enough. However, when we're talking about life, there are generally no quick fixes or easy ways to do things. Now, there can be simpler ways. Sometimes we make things too complicated, but it generally requires effort. So you want to look through your life and see if there are things right now that you're trying to do, like recovery, where you're looking for a quick fix. You want a pill. You want somebody to tell you the magic words. It's not going to happen. And if it does, it's not going to be enduring. We want to look at the big picture. We want to look at the broader scope of what it is. Remember, back to those other priorities of power, control, possessions. What is it that's going to make you happy? And how can you get it in the most efficient and effective way, not necessarily the quickest, easiest, fastest way? Quick fixes in recovery generally set you up for relapse because they're not addressing the problem. They're just covering it up so you don't see it. Lust, sex, focus on pleasure. Now, we're not going to say in recovery you're not going to have lustful thoughts and you're going to quit having sex. That's just not going to happen. But we need to figure out whether it's a focus of your life and what purpose that's filling. If you are focused on that a lot, maybe you're trying to get approval or you're trying to feel lovable through your physical body instead of for who you are as a whole person. You're separating out part of it. It also could be focusing on lust, sex, and pleasure as a behavioral addiction. This other stuff over here that's called life ain't making you feel too good, but when you focus over here, you get a dopamine rush. You get that good feeling. So what is it that these activities are doing for you, and how can it be a problem in recovery? Again, it can divert you from the things that are really important. Always wanting more and being envious of what others have. Somebody's always going to have more. Somebody's going to be prettier, thinner, richer, funnier, smarter, whatever. It's going to happen. Get over it. Be grateful for what you have and the skills and talents that you have, and appreciate yourself for those. Look at your current situation. Make a list of all the things that you have that you're grateful for. Then make a list of all the things that you don't have, maybe, that you want, that you're envious of. And go over that list of things that you're envious about and go, how important is this really in my life right now to have these various things, you know, a house in the mountains or I don't know, whatever it is that you want. How important is this? Also, look at the energy of envy. Envy is a toxic emotion. It's basically anger at somebody else for having something you don't have. That's what 2-year-olds do. I'm assuming you're older than that right now. So you want to look at envy and go, why do I feel inadequate because I don't have that? Or what is it about that that is worth so much of my energy that I'm going to let it rent space in my head? Envy takes a lot of energy, and it doesn't go away. It's just this little kind of green-eyed monster in the back. Or is that jealousy? I don't know. It's a little monster in the back saying, I want that. I can't be happy until I have that. Did you hear what I said? Envy says, I cannot be happy until I have that. You're setting yourself up for relapse. So, like me for who I am. This is what I'm getting at here. I want you to look at in what ways have you felt unworthy of love or not good enough? And you're going to want to take some time to really brainstorm this, because my guess is, even for some of the happiest, most well-adjusted people I know, they have a list of ways that they have felt inadequate at times. Spend 10 minutes thinking about how you currently feel unworthy of love or not good enough, because that's what you're going to have to start with addressing. Your past is your past. You can't change that. It impacts how you feel today. And what we want to help you focus on is feeling better today. Think about what messages told you that you can only be loved for what you do, not who you are, or that love has strings attached. I will love you if you get straight A's. I will love you if you have this job. Finally, identify 5 reasons that you are worthy of love and good enough just the way you are. Oh my gosh, what a concept. Without the jewelry, without the makeup, without the car, without the job, whatever. If you just walked into a room somewhere and met somebody, why would you be worthy of their attention and their affection, appreciation? You know, they're not going to love you at first sight, probably. But you want to look at, why am I good enough? And I will quote Stuart Smalley, why am I good enough, smart enough, and gosh darn it, why do people like me? That's kind of a paraphrased quote. But any of you who are old enough to remember that, I'm sorry for you, because I remember it too. So, to kind of bring it all full circle, always wanting more power, sex, happiness, and failing to be grateful for what we already have leads to painful feelings. So we start scrambling. We divert a whole bunch of energy to try to make ourselves feel better, trying to control things we can't control or get things or achieve goals that we may never be able to achieve, when in reality we've got a lot going on right here that's really good. Or trying to escape from all that negativity through addiction and distraction. One of the first lessons in recovery is coming to an understanding of why you are lovable and what you need. And I have need in italics because a need is different than a want. I need air. I need food. I need a roof over my head. Now, I may want to have steak. I may want to have this beautiful house. I may want a lot of things, but I don't need them to be happy. What do you need in order to be happy in your life? Spend some time. Don't rush through these activities. Maybe do them, and then go back and look at them tomorrow and see if you need to add anything or change anything, and figure out how all of these priorities are going to impact your recovery process. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.